On Wednesdays, we talk Flames on the Shifts and Pucks podcast. It's with Devin and Kevin. Started with the conversation about should Johnny Gaudreau be nominated for the Hart.
And good transition here. Do you know who Daryl Sutter said was the best checker on the team?
Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah. And it's hard not to gush again. He had 5 assists on Friday. Just some incredible passes. Oh
my God.
Like as Haley Salvian often tweets, Johnny Gaudreau is a cheat code.
He really is. And if you're listening or watching this podcast and wondering, okay, what's the big deal? Yeah, if you get a chance to, you need to watch him live. Yes, watching on TV, you can kind of understand and see the magic, and not kind of, you can definitely see it while watching it on TV. But if you watch him live and just focus on what he does and how he gets into it gets into the fabric of the game, but also finding these little soft pockets that normally a bigger player won't be able to really get to. The way that he manipulates his body and where the puck is to not let anybody really near it is world class. And yes, on the weekend he was unbelievable watching him against the Oilers, who, yes, they don't have the best defense, but they're still NHL defensemen, and he's making them look ridiculous and stupid. And on top of that, with his size and with Daryl Sutter saying that he is the best checker on the team, no, it's not physical checking. It's about a check is to get somebody off the puck. That is the definition of a check in hockey, and it doesn't have to be a massive body check. His stick work is world class as well.
Yeah, and we talk about that. Like, I have always admired Crosby's stick work because I think it's some of the best in the game, and that's where Johnny too. Like, he's so good with the stick. And his skating has gotten I'm not saying that his skating was terrible before, but he's taken another step up. It's just he feels like he's in control of the game, and it's just he's been fun to watch. And I guess the next part of this question is, I think there's been some conversation about this. We've had the conversation. And I'll just say this flat out: Lindholm. There's no debate to me. Lindholm should get the Selke. I think it's hard for me to find anyone else. That to me should be the slam dunk. But the Hart Trophy's been a bit of an interesting conversation. You have a lot of people talking about the Rangers and Igor Shesterkin. And some people may put Cale Makar in the Hart Trophy conversation. Of course, you're going to have Oiler fans putting Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in that conversation. The Leafs, I think a lot of Leafs fans are talking about Austin Matthews in that conversation as well. Is Johnny Gaudreau in the Hart Trophy conversation?
If he's not, he fucking should be, period. There's the East bias where a lot of who's the Hart voted on or voted by? Is it the writers?
Yeah.
And you really, this is where I have a hard time with players who play amazing in the Western Conference, and they're not really noticed as much because the writers in the East have to get their stories in. Well, maybe not so much now because newspapers aren't really as prominent as they were back in the day, and you had a deadline, and you probably still do have a deadline, but you focus on what like the East, which is 2 hours ahead of the Mountain time zone and 3 hours ahead of the Pacific time zone. They don't watch the games out here as often unless they are obligated to, and so they don't understand how good Johnny Gaudreau is and how. Where would the team be without him? Yes, you have Elias Lindholm. That is, which I agree with you. I wouldn't say is a slam dunk, but definitely is top two in voting. He should be voted top two, if not number one for Selke as of right now. And you have Matthew Tkachuk, who is a world-class player as well. But where would they be without Johnny Gaudreau? They wouldn't be. I don't think they'd be. They might still be really, really good, but I don't think they'd be dominating as they have been for the entire year. So yeah. you got to really hope that the writers are looking outside of their conference, their division, and looking over here because Eric Francis on Monday had a guy on, and I forget his name. Oh no, they had Ryan Leslie on, and they started talking about this conversation that we're having, and both of them were saying, yeah, Johnny's not getting as much talk as he should be for the Hart, and that's a crying shame if that's the case, because Igor Shesterkin has fumbled and hasn't played as good as he's played throughout the entire year for the past 2.5 weeks, or even 3 weeks as of right now. He's still playing great, don't get me wrong, but he's kind of come back to earth a little bit, and Johnny stayed very consistent with his game and the way that he's played. And yeah, you're right. Guys up north, they're going to be splitting votes or talking with each other, being like, okay, let's I'm not saying it's going to be fixed, but let's put it all of our votes into one basket of either Draisaitl or McDavid. But outside of that, yeah, you have Austin Matthews, like you said, who will definitely get some votes. And I don't know. I don't think Cale Makar will. I think that the Hart does go to a very, obviously an amazing player, but I'd say McKinnon would be in front of that as far as Cale Makar goes. And nothing against Cale Makar, but he most likely will get the Norris, like I said before, but I don't think he'll get the Hart.
Well, Makar actually has more points than McKinnon, but although McKinnon has only played 51 games, to be fair, to me, okay, so I'm going to just tell you. I'll go through my logic here. I don't think Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl should even be in the top 5, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but Leon Draisaitl has been ventilated defensively, like ventilated. And they were McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nurse were combined minus 21, which I believe was the temperature a couple of weeks ago in Calgary, right? That was about that cold.
Yeah, around there.
Around there, yeah. So, I mean, Draisaitl is going to he's going to get 50 goals, and everyone's going to be impressed. I don't think that either of them should be in the conversation. Donnie Goudreau is 4th in scoring. He's got 30 goals, 60 points, 90 point for 60 assists, 90 points. He's a plus 49. Now, I mean, we talk about the minus 21. I mean, plus minus, you can argue about that stat, but that seems like a pretty good stat. I don't know.
Well, when it's an outlier like that, that's when you're saying, okay, what's happening here? And Mike Commodore has always has the Masters rankings, which is obviously for golf, you want to have a low score. And he always brings out quarterly throughout the year who is the worst in the league for your plus minus. And obviously those outliers for the top and the bottom, they should be recognized. And yeah, to your point, we use plus 46, you said?
49.
That is unbelievable. And that shows that 5-on-5, it's not just on power play, but it's 5-on-5 that he's actually doing most of his heavy lifting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, 4th in scoring. Matthew Tkachuk, by the way, 6th. So to me, he's got to be in that. He has to be in there. I mean, we forgot to mention Jonathan Huberdeau. I do think Jonathan Huberdeau deserves to be in there. He's fantastic to watch too. Kyle Connor, by the way, plus 3, if anyone is interested. Sorry, Jean-Guy, I'm just pointing out that he's plus 3. Not trying to take a shot, but I'm just trying to do some comparison here. To me, I think Johnny has to be a Hart finalist. I would probably, just because of games, put Cale Makar in there just because of the impact that he's had. I think Nashville Predators fans are probably going to argue that Roman Josi deserves some Norris credit, and I think Igor Shesterkin he's going to get in there because of partly where he's played, how well he's played, and there's this perception that the Rangers would be where they are without him. I don't know if I think that's probably true.
Well, you also have Chris Kreider, who's on a hell of a fucking tear as well, right?
Nobody's talking about him. He's got 40
plus
41 goals. Yeah. God grief.
Yeah. And if we're talking about plus minus as well, I just want to point out that the top 4 plus minus in the league goes Matthew Tkachuk, Devin Taves, Elias Lindholm, and Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and like to me, that line, and just based on that, I think you have to put Johnny Gaudreau in that conversation.
Here's a portion of Wednesday's podcast. What do you think? Follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network.